and welcome to Mastermind with me, Clive Myrie. In the spotlight tonight are Seb Dwyer, a financial services administrator. His specialist subject is the Russian Emperor Peter the Great. Karen Ellis, a former forensic scientist whose subject is Exmoor National Park. Jonathan Paxton, a data platform controller. He'll be answering questions on the films of Quentin Tarantino, and Anne McElhinney, a retired primary school teacher. Her subject is the Cicero Trilogy of novels by Robert Harris. Up for grabs is a place in the semi-finals, a step towards the ultimate prize in quizzing, the Mastermind Glass Bowl, and the title of Mastermind Champion. But no matter what they say, the best things in life ain't free. You've got to earn it. Navigating tonight, 2 minutes on a specialist subject and 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Who's up to the challenge? Let's find out. So, can I ask our first contender to join us, please? Your name?
Seb Dwyer.
Your occupation?
Financial Services Administrator.
And your specialist subject?
Peter the Great of Russia.
Yes, Peter the Great, the Russian Tsar and Emperor who ruled from 1682 to 1725 and is credited as the founder of modern Russia. In 2 minutes, let's go. What was the name of Peter's half-brother who ruled with him as the joint Tsar from their coronation in 1682 until his death in 1696?
Ivan.
Yes. Which former head of the Foreign Office and guardian of Peter's mother was murdered by the Royal Guard in a dispute over the royal succession in 1682?
Artemon Matviev.
Yes. What was the original English name of the small wooden boat in which Peter learnt to sail, which later became known symbolically as the grandfather of the Russian Navy?
Pass.
What Turkish coastal fort that Peter failed to capture in 1695 did he successfully lay siege to the following year with land and naval forces?
Azov.
Yes, Peter left Russia for an information-gathering tour of Western Europe in 1697, on which he decided to travel incognito under what name?
Peter Mikhailov.
Yes, Peter visited England in 1698, where he and his friends caused £350 worth of damage to the gardens when they lodged at the London house of which English diarist?
I'm just going to say Samuel Pepys.
No, John Evelyn. Peter declared war on Sweden in 1700, using as one of the pretexts a visit to which city 3 years earlier, where he'd received uncivil treatment?
Riga.
Yes. What name was given to the Cabinet of Curiosities founded by Peter in 1714, which he intended to become a public museum and is still in existence today?
The Kunstkamera.
Yes, Peter's future second wife, Catherine, was initially taken prisoner by the Russians in which town before being passed on to one of Peter's advisors?
Marienburg.
Yes. What was the name of the edict issued by Peter in 1722, which established a hierarchy of 14 grades across the military, civil and court services?
The Table of Ranks.
Yes, Peter was granted the titles Father of the Fatherland and Emperor of all Russia after the Great Northern War with Sweden ended in 1721, following the signing of what treaty?
Treaty of Nystad.
Yes. What was the name of Catherine's personal secretary, rumoured to be her lover, whom Peter had executed in 1724, ostensibly for taking bribes?
Pass.
Following Peter's death in 1725, his funeral service took place in which cathedral, where his coffin remained unburied for 6 years until it was interred in the crypt?
The Peter and Paul Cathedral?
Yes, St. Peter and Paul. Seb, you had just the 2 passes. The name of Catherine's personal secretary, rumoured to be her lover, whom Peter had executed, William Monts. And the original English name of the small wooden boat in which Peter learnt to sail, the St. Nicholas.
Wonderful.
Of course, and at the end of that round, Seb, you've got 10 points.
Thank you.
And our next contender, please. Your name?
Karen Ellis.
Your occupation?
Former forensic scientist.
And your specialist subject?
Exmoor National Park.
The area of West Somerset and North Devon designated as a national park in 1954. In 2 minutes, let's go. A public footpath extending for more than 50 miles between Nether Stowey and Lynmouth is named after which English romantic poet who was a regular walker on Exmoor with his friend William Wordsworth?
Coleridge.
Yes. What's the name of the ancient clapper bridge which crosses the River Barle near the village of Liscombe?
Tar Steps.
Yes. The National Trust-owned arts and crafts style Hunter's Inn is in which steep-sided river valley in western Exmoor?
Lynn Valley.
No, Hedon Valley. What was the name of the lifeboat which was hauled 13 miles overland from Lynmouth to Porlock in 1899 to help the distressed ship Forest Hall?
The Louisa.
Yes, which coastal resort near the western edge of the national park holds an annual festival called the Hunting of the Earl of Roan, in which locals dressed as grenadiers reenact the pursuit and capture of a fugitive in nearby woods?
Coombe Martin.
Yes, the severe storm which in October 1996 created the coastal salt marshes north of Porlock was a remnant of which hurricane?
Lily.
Yes, what's the name of the Iron Age hill fort overlooking the River Barle southeast of the village of Simmonsbath?
Cow Hill.
No, Cow Castle. An inscribed stone near Winsford is named after which first-century British chieftain of the Catavalorni tribe?
Caraticus.
Yes, what's the name of the room at Dunster Castle which contains valuable painted hangings depicting scenes from the love story of Antony and Cleopatra?
The Leather Room.
Yes, in which village is St. Mary's Church, popular with visitors as it was the setting for the title character's wedding in R.D. Blackmore's 1869 novel Lorna Doone?
Or.
Yes, the picturesque villages of Luckham, Allerford, Bossington and Selworthy are parts of what estate donated to the National Trust in 1944 by the Ackland family?
Holneycote.
Yes. Which small market town is home to both a national park centre and the Exmoor Society?
Dulverton.
Yes, tunnels on the southwest coast footpath near Porlock Weir were built for the scientist... I've started, so I'll finish. Were built for the scientist Ada Lovelace when she lived with her husband, William King, in what now ruined Italianate house near Porlock Weir?
Merrymeet.
No, Ashley Combe House. So, Karen, at the end of that round, you got 10 points, no passes. And our next contender, please. Your name,
Jonathan Paxton,
your occupation,
Data Platform Controller.
and your specialist subjects.
The films of Quentin Tarantino.
The feature films of the American director noted for their graphic violence, witty dialogue, and pop culture references. In 2 minutes, let's go. In Pulp Fiction, the headstrong boxer Butch risks returning to his apartment in order to retrieve what item inherited from his great-grandfather?
A watch.
Yes. What breed of police dog does Mr. Orange claim to have encountered in a public toilet when telling his commode story to the other jewel thieves in Reservoir Dogs?
German Shepherd.
Yes, in Inglourious Bastards, the Allied forces and the cinema owner Shoshana Dreyfus have made separate plans to wipe out the Nazi leadership at the premiere of what film?
Nation's Pride.
Yes, the swordmaker Hattori Hanzo tells Beatrix Kiddo in Kill Bill Volume 1 that revenge is never a straight line, but is instead what type of natural feature?
Waterfall.
No, a forest. In Jackie Brown, what's the name of the Mexican resort where Jackie picks up the $500,000 that she's smuggling into the United States for the gunrunner Ordell Robbie?
Tijuana.
No, Cabo San Lucas. What festive tune does Bob play on the piano as the mortal enemies Major Warren and General Smithers engage in a tense conversation in The Hateful Eight?
Silent Night.
Yes, in Django Unchained, what's the surname of the 3 outlaw brothers whom Dr. Schultz asks Django to help him identify?
The Lister.
No, Brittle. In Death Proof, what's the name of the stunt that Zoe performs by holding onto the bonnet of a speeding car using only 2 belts?
Ship's Mast.
Yes. In Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Sharon Tate, played by Margot Robbie, goes to a cinema that's showing what film in which she'd starred?
The Wrecking Crew.
Yes. In Kill Bill Volume 2, Beatrix Kiddo tells the martial arts master Pai Mei that she's proficient in what style of kung fu?
Jiu-Jitsu.
No, Tiger Crane. In Reservoir Dogs, the crime boss, Joe Cabot, refuses to let the jewel thieves choose their own nickname colours because he says you get 4 guys all fighting over who's going to be Mr. What?
Black.
Yes, in Pulp Fiction, what was the full name of Mia Wallace's character in the failed television pilot show Fox Force 5?
Uma Thurman.
No, Raven McCoy. You knew it. OK, Jonathan, you had no passes at the end of that round. You've got 7 points.
Thank you very much.
And our final contender, please. Your name,
Anne McElhinney,
Your occupation
retired primary teacher.
and your specialist subject.
The Cicero Trilogy by Robert Harris.
The best-selling epic novels Imperium, Lustrum, and Dictator, based on the real-life Roman statesman, lawyer, and philosopher Cicero. In 2 minutes, let's go. What's the name of Cicero's confidential secretary and slave who narrates all 3 novels?
Tyro.
Yes, Cicero's first foray into politics is to stand for election as a senator, which requires him to be a millionaire, but he lacks the money, so he marries which rich young woman?
Terentia.
Yes, in Imperium, Cicero prosecutes Gaius Verres for extortion and, during his investigations, finds that part of Verres' name has been scraped off important financial records that now bear what fake name?
Various.
No, Gaius Verrucius. In Lustrum, whom does Tyro describe as having the muscles of a soldier within the loosely belted tunic of an effete dandy?
Julius Caesar.
Yes, in Dictator, a wealthy tax farmer leaves Cicero a small villa on the Bay of Naples between the sea and the Lucrine Lake. In which city?
Comii?
Yes. When he returns home from a session of the Senate where Caesar has announced that Pompeia is no longer his wife, Cicero asks Tyro to read to him from which play by Euripides?
I can't. Oedipus.
No,
Rex.
The Suppliant Women. In Lustrum, Cicero makes an enemy of Clodius, a young man from one of the most distinguished families in Rome, whom he refers to by what disparaging 3-word nickname?
Oh, the pretty boy.
No, Little Miss Beauty.
Yeah.
After the death of his cousin Lucius in Imperium, Cicero takes his ashes to be interred at the family estate in Arpinum, which is located alongside which river?
Arno?
No, Fibrinus. One reason for Cicero's popularity in the Sicilian city of Syracuse was that, as a young magistrate, he'd located whose tomb in the municipal cemetery?
Archimedes.
Yes, what is Cicero's 3-word slogan when he runs for election as an aedile or magistrate of Rome during Imperium?
Long live Rome.
No, Justice and Reform. Tyro hires couriers provided by which Macedonian merchant to take letters to Rome, while Cicero... I've started, so I'll finish. While Cicero is in exile in Thessalonica, even though he considers the merchant to be an inveterate, lazy crook.
Oh. It's Emilus or Erasmus.
No. Epiphanes.
Yes. Yeah.
Epiphanes. And Anne, at the end of that round, no passes. You got 5 points.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
And at the end of the specialist subjects round, let's have a look at the scores. In 4th place with 5 points, it's Anne. In 3rd place with 7 points, it's Jonathan. And in joint 1st place with 10 points each, Seb and Karen. So now it's general knowledge. And if there's a tie at the end of that round, then the number of passes is taken into account and the person with the fewer passes is the winner. And if they're tied on passes as well, it's a tie break. So let's ask Anne to join us again, please. So, Anne, you start with 5 points. You've got 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Let's go. A common expression for the most direct route between 2 places expresses the distance as which bird flies?
Crow.
Yes. What French term is used in English for shredded paper mixed into a pulp with glue and pressed into a mould to make items such as masks and ornaments?
Papier mâché.
Yes, which British fashion magazine editor, who was awarded a damehood in 2017, was made a Companion of Honour in the King's 2023 Birthday Honours List?
Anna Wintour.
Yes, the television presenter and writer Ade Adepitan rose to prominence as a winner of a Paralympic bronze medal in which sports?
Athletics.
No, wheelchair basketball. The senior officer in the royal household who is responsible for dealing with the monarch's private expenses holds the title Keeper of the Privy what?
Purse.
Yes, The Lady in Red and Missing You were UK hit singles in the 1980s for which singer?
Christa Berg.
Yes, the 3 European members of the Commonwealth are the UK, Cyprus and which other country?
Malta.
Yes. What was the name of the British model who died in 2017, whose affair with the Secretary of State for War, John Profumo, in the 1960s led to his resignation?
Kristin Keeler.
Yes, in 1983, Finland's Karita Mattila was the winner of the inaugural staging of the BBC Singer of the World competition held biennially in which British city?
Cardiff.
Yes, which Irish-Canadian author wrote the novel Room, which was shortlisted for the Booker Prize and adapted into a 2015 film of the same name?
Emma Donohoe.
Yes, what's the usual three-letter word for the length of time it takes a celestial body to turn once on its axis?
Orbit.
No, day. Which British poet wrote about the First World War in his sonnets, The Dead and the Soldier?
Rupert Brooke.
Yes, a spirometer is a medical device used to test the functioning of which pair of organs?
The eyes.
No, lungs. British 50-pence coins minted from 1969 to 2008 feature what helmeted female figure seated beside a lion and holding a trident and an olive branch?
Britannia.
Yes, what word for the management of international relations between countries is the name of a board game devised by Alan B. Calamer in the 1950s and set in Europe in the early 20th century?
Risk.
No, diplomacy. In the life cycle of an insect, what name is given to the larva of a butterfly or moth after it has hatched from an egg, but before it transforms into a pupa?
Caterpillar.
Yes, what word from the Scots Gaelic for a servant or young man is applied to an advisor and guide on a fishing or shooting expedition,
A ghillie.
often in
Sorry.
the Scottish Highlands? It is.
Sorry.
A ghillie. And Anne, at the end of that round, no passes, 18 points.
Thank you.
Next up, let's have Jonathan. So, Jonathan, you start with 7 points. The score to beat, as it stands, is 18 points. And you've got 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Let's go. What mythical sea creature, similar to a siren, is said to have the head and upper body of a woman and the tail of a fish?
Mermaid.
Yes, what snack item is sometimes known as a ground nut, earth nut, or monkey nut, or, in parts of the United States, as a goober or goober pea?
Peanut.
Yes, in the 2018 remake of A Star is Born, Lady Gaga plays a young singer called Ali, who is helped by a country rock star played by which actor who also directed the film?
Bradley Cooper.
Yes, the reddish appearance of the planet Mars is caused mainly by oxides of which metal in its soil?
Copper.
No, iron. In 2009, which future UK Prime Minister and Conservative Party leader married the businesswoman and heiress Akshata Murthy?
Can you repeat the question, please?
In 2009, which future UK Prime Minister and Conservative Party leader married the businesswoman and heiress Akshata Murthy?
Boris Johnson.
No, Rishi Sunak. Which English university plays home cricket matches at a ground named Fenners, after the former player who originally sublet the land to the university in 1848?
Cambridge.
Yes. Which British hard rock group was formed in 1978 with David Coverdale as its lead singer?
Whitesnake.
Yes, what was the surname of the Scottish botanist who, in 1827, introduced a North American conifer to Britain, which is often used as a Christmas tree and is commonly named after him?
Mackenzie.
No, Douglas. The Emperor Puyi was, in the early years of the 20th century, the last imperial ruler of which Asian country?
China.
Yes, in 2022, which actress won her third Emmy in the category Outstanding Supporting Actress in a Drama Series, each time for her role as Ruth Langmore in Ozark?
Laura Linney.
No, Julia Garner. What's the name of the shipping forecast area in the North Sea off the coast of Bremerhaven and near the port of Hamburg?
Dogger.
No, German Bite. In Olympic beach volleyball, each team is allowed how many players on the court at any one time?
2.
Yes, the opening of what novel by Emily Bronte features the lines, "I have just returned from a visit to my landlord, the solitary neighbour that I shall be troubled with"?
Wuthering Heights.
Yes, in farming, a tup is an uncastrated male specimen of what animal?
A cow.
No, sheep. The Global Day of Action and Education around environmental issues, known as Earth Day, is observed annually on the 22nd of which month?
January.
No, April. The British author and composer Philip Heseltine, known for his vocal music, including the song cycle The Curlew, used what pseudonym for his musical works?
Glass.
No, Peter Warlock. What word for a small box used to store tea is derived from a Malay term for a unit of weight equivalent to 1 1/3 pounds?
Caddy.
Yes, it's caddy. And Jonathan, you had no passes, and at the end of that round, you've got 16 points.
Thank you.
Next up, it's Seb. Seb, you have 10 points. The score to beat as it stands is 18 points. You've got 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Let's go. In an informal expression, someone taking a short sleep is said to be having how many winks?
40.
Yes, which sea was referred to by the Romans as Mare Nostrum, meaning our sea?
The Aegean?
No, the Mediterranean. Which American artist who died in 1986 is known for her paintings of enlarged flowers, including black iris, oriental poppies, and Jimson weed?
George O'Keeffe?
Yes, Nanook is an Inuit word for what large land mammal native to Arctic regions?
Polar bear?
Yes, what's the surname of the acting siblings Joan and John, who've appeared together in several films, including High Fidelity and Grosse Pointe Blank?
Sheen.
No, Cusack. In 1998, Washington National Airport was renamed after which US president?
No, pass.
Which major horse race held annually in Australia is described in the title of a poem by Vivian Macready as the race that stops the nation?
Pass.
Which actor and author wrote the Enemy series of post-apocalyptic horror novels for young adults published between 2009 and 2015?
No, pass.
What liquid condiment was produced from the 1830s by a pair of dispensing chemists, John Wheely Lee and William Henry Perrins, and was promoted with the slogan, "The original and genuine"?
Worcester sauce.
Yes. From 1817 to 1823, Bernardo O'Higgins, the son of an Irish-born viceroy in Spanish Peru, was a revolutionary soldier and head of state of which South American country?
Chile?
Yes. In the UK, what five-letter name is usually given to precipitation falling as a mixture of rain and snow?
Sleet.
Yes. In the Midnight Hour, Land of a Thousand Dances and Mustang Sally were UK hit singles in the 1960s for which American soul singer?
Wilson Pickett?
Yes. What decimal number is written in binary notation as 110?
10?
No, 6. The informal term sitcom for a certain style of television show is an abbreviation of what two-word term?
Situation comedy.
Yes. What French word, often translated as nape of the neck, is used in English for a hairstyle in which long hair is pinned into a loose coil or bun at the back of the head?
No, pass.
Loch Ness forms part of which major waterway in Scotland that was constructed in the early 19th century under the direction of Thomas Telford?
Pass.
It's the Caledonian Canal. So, Seb, you had 4 other passes. Chignon is the French word, translated as nape of the neck. Charlie Higson wrote the Enemy series of post-apocalyptic horror stories. Melbourne Cup, the race that stops the nation in Australia. And it is Reagan National Airport, named after that president. And now, after that round, you've got 18 points.
Thank you.
And finally, let's have Karen again, please. Karen, you start with 10 points. The score to beat to get through to the semi-finals is Seb and Anne's 18 points. You've got 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. Let's go. In slang, the word Scouser refers to a native or inhabitant of which English city?
Liverpool.
Yes, in the children's television show Sesame Street, a Muppet named Bert usually appears as part of a double act with which other character?
Ernie.
Yes, at the 2022 FIFA World Cup, which Argentinian footballer won the Golden Ball Award as the tournament's best player?
Lionel Messi.
Yes, which African mountain is made up of 3 volcanic cones called Kibo, Mawenzi and Shira?
Kilimanjaro.
Yes. The name of what marine mammal was the operational code name for the proposed German invasion of the UK in 1940?
Orca.
No, Sea Lion, which British group had their 4th UK #1 album with a 2022 release entitled Dance Fever?
Pass.
In Greek mythology, what's the name of the mortal young woman who was loved by Eros and became the goddess of the soul?
Pass.
What popular video game franchise launched in 2012 involves matching 3 or more tiles represented by a variety of differently coloured sweets?
Candy Crush.
Yes. What famous cave discovered in 1940 in the Dordogne region of France is decorated with hundreds of prehistoric drawings and in 1979 became part of a UNESCO World Heritage Site?
Pass.
Between 1977 and 1992, Ian Trethowan, Alistair Milne and Michael Checkland successively held the position of Director General at which media organisation?
BBC.
Yes, which metallic element has the chemical symbol Mn?
Manganese.
Yes, the much-quoted line, "You're gonna need a bigger boat," is from what 1975 film?
Jaws.
Yes, a bright green variety of what fruit is named after Maria Ann Smith, who emigrated to Australia in the 1830s?
Apple.
Yes, which Renaissance artist who lived from 1475 to 1564 is the subject of Irving Stone's biographical novel The Agony and the Ecstasy?
Leonardo da Vinci.
No, Michelangelo. What two-word title held by a prominent Buddhist leader is derived from a Mongolian word for ocean and a Tibetan word meaning chief or spiritual leader?
Dalai Lama.
Yes, an Act of Parliament passed in 1985 increased the amount of the deposit a candidate must pay to stand in a UK parliamentary election from £150 to how much?
1,000.
No, 500. The Willow Tea Rooms in Glasgow and Hill House in Helensburgh are among the best-known works of which Scottish architect and furniture designer in collaboration with his wife, Margaret MacDonald?
Charles Rennie Mackintosh.
Yes, what two-word legal term which translates from French as superior strength? I've studied, so I'll finish. Is used to refer to unexpected circumstances that prevent someone from filling a contract.
Pass.
It is force majeure. So, Karen, you had 3 other passes. The famous cave discovered in 1940 in the Dordogne region of France, Lascaux Cave. Psyche in Greek mythology was the name of the mortal young woman loved by Eros. And Florence and the Machine, they had their 4th UK #1 album, Dance Fever, in 2022. And at the end of that round, Karen, you've done it. You've got 21 points. So let's have a look at the final scores. In 4th place with 16 points, it's Jonathan. In joint 2nd place with 18 points each, Seb and Anne. And in 1st place with 21 points, it's Karen, which means she goes through to the semi-finals. Congratulations to her. Now, if you'd like to be a contender in the next series, please go to our website, bbc.co.uk/mastermind, and you can follow us as ever at Mastermind Quiz. Join us again next time for more Masterminds. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
It feels great to have got through to the semi-final of Mastermind.
Karen, you've done it. You've got 21 points.
I applied to Mastermind because I recently realised that I'm autistic and I'm trying to focus on all the positive aspects of that. I find I can store and recall a lot of information. I thought I'd put it to the test with Mastermind.